Cotton Branch family. Hope you're having a great morning after the holidays. We are going to be talking about adoption. And oh my goodness, if you guys know about us, if you've been around us for some amount of time, you know that we have a adoption program. Hold on one second, something was beeping. I think I'm good now. But yeah, for the longest time, we've been able to do an adoption program, a program where we actually take pigs from terrible situations, house them, get them socialized, and then get them out to their appropriate homes. So to kind of let you guys know, if you haven't been following us for some amount of time, these are the pigs that we're talking about. These pigs are our Kentucky pigs. We rescued them, all 550 of them with the coalition, and they are our Kentucky 458 hoarding case piggies, and about 100 of them or so have been housed at Cotton Branch for about a year and a half or so, and I think we're down to about 70 or so needing homes. And I'm going to go ahead and play a blast from the past here. This was from when we first got them in. You can see they're a little bit smaller. They're cuties, and we just loved them to death. Some of them, like the smaller babies that were here, became extremely socialized, as you can tell, and it's just been it's been great to take care of them, to make sure they get all of their needs met, and we just love them very much. And so this is kind of a blast from the past. They're a little bit older, obviously. Some of them that you're seeing right now have actually already been adopted out, but we still have pigs, and I'll kind of go over that in a second, that still need adoptable homes. So the ages, let's talk about ages. So right now, the ages of the current available pigs are between year 1 and year 5. They're somewhere between 1 and 5. And that's kind of a good age to adopt, to be quite honest, because you kind of know where they're going to be as far as weight-wise, and where they're going to be as far as like the bone structure and all that good stuff. Because once they hit about age 2, you have a really good idea of where they are. And what you're looking at right now is them being very cute in a socialization pen, some of the smaller ones that were first adopted out. And then what you're looking at right now is where when they first got here, where we put them. So we actually moved them from this area into a more flat area, so we can actually socialize them a little bit better, so we're not running up and down the hills anymore. But I just wanted to show you guys them so you have a better idea. So let's dive in. So I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Sorry about the glare from the lights here. So let's talk about adoption. Now, behavior. Let's talk about first, how do these pigs behave, especially this bunch? This bunch of pigs, they're very sweet. We still have a lot more to go as far as getting them more socialized, and hopefully COVID-19 will allow us to have more people out, and so you can socialize them even more. And for those who have been following us, piggy cuddling has been so successful. Right before COVID-19 hit, it was great. A lot of the groups, a lot of the herds, their behavior became very much more relaxed, and they would come up to you and they would want attention, and they still do, but we still need more work. So if you've been out before and you want to cuddle pigs, we do have that option now. So if you've been out to cuddle pigs before, go to cottonbranch.org, click on the volunteer tab. It is very easy to sign up, and you guys can actually help us with socializing these pigs. Now, as far as behavior goes, males and females, let's talk about that. Some people have different opinions on it, but for this particular group that we're talking about right now, the males and the females are somewhat different. Females are a little bit more independent. They have a little bit more, not really attitude, but they have an independent streak. And the males are much more docile, which is what we notice with them. And so what we typically do is whenever we have an adoption and there's a female in the mix, we also, recommend either another female, another male, so they can play together and they can actually socialize each other. So that's the kind of difference of behaviors that we see in this particular group. And then age, like I said before, they're somewhere between age 1 and age 5, a lot of variation right in between there. And it's good to actually adopt from that age group, simply because you know their behaviors already, you know kind of their build and how big they're going to be getting. It's typically from, the weight size is somewhere between 80 pounds and 120 with this group, somewhere in there. Some may be a little bit more, some may be a little bit less, but it's not that big of a difference is what we've noticed from this group. And the cost. Now, since we are a nonprofit farm animal rescue, we don't have a adoption fee per se, but if the pig needs to go across state lines and they have to get blood work done, there is a cost that is attached to there. And that could be anywhere, depending on where you live, about $40 up to about $100. And that's just to get that blood test done, any type of paperwork that needs to happen. That's how much that would be. So we don't have necessarily a fee, but we do have the cost for these health documents that we'll need to give you when you go across state lines. If you're in state, that cost is pretty much almost zero, depending on what's going on. But that's the kind of cost that you're looking at. Now, let's talk about vet care. You always want to have a vet available. And like we said last week and weeks before, you want to make sure that wherever you are, there is a clinic and there is a emergency center. And a clinic is typically a operation where you can bring your pig in, they can get their shots like deworming and vaccinations and that kind of thing. And we can always help you find those in your area. Now, pig vets are not as widely available as dogs and cats vets. So we would have to work with you and see which one is the closest to you, especially in the southeast. And that would be the clinic. And then you have your emergencies where you have a really bad problem, they're sick, they're having issues, and we always recommend going to the university system. And there are 2 university vets in the southeast that we always recommend. First is UGA out of Athens, Georgia. They're a great team. They are really becoming one of the top pig vets in our area, along with the University of Tennessee, who's also really great with that too. But we always recommend UGA because we have a great relationship with them. They're amazing. And if you have a mobile vet available, a mobile vet is a vet that can come out to your home and do a lot of this work, a lot of emergency care, a lot of even the basic vaccinations and things. So with vet care, you have different options, but when you adopt from us, we will help you find that vet. We will help you get that team together for your animal. Because it's not like your dogs and cats where you just go into one place and you come out and that's it. You have to have specialized care sometimes when things come up. So that's vet care. And let's talk about housing. So there's 2 ways for housing, 2 actual scenarios, okay? These are the only 2 scenarios that we actually even allow. The first scenario is outside only. So let's say you want to have your pig outside only. There needs to be some housing. There needs to be a shelter. There needs to be almost like an oversized doghouse. If you live on a farm, you need a stall with a roof. And you want to make sure that is, with straw and everything's comfortable and comfy and everything's clean. So that's one of the first housing scenario. The second would be indoor and outdoor. So let's say that they spend most of their time outside playing, and at night they come in and they have their own room or they have their own area of the room where you have blankets and dog beds or whatever, and that's their area to sleep. Some people like to sleep with their pigs. We do. We love them. They're just like a dog, not a big deal. Some people think that's weird, but we don't. And so that's kind of what you would need to have. You want to have their own area. that's specifically theirs, that they claim to themselves, whether it's a room or a section of the room. We do not recommend indoor only. We're very blunt about this. We think we really consider it animal abuse because pigs need to have outdoor time. They need to have that time with nature. That's just natural for them. They like to root. They like to eat grass. They like to smell all these different smells outside, and that really gets them to have enrichment in their life. So that's something that we always recommend. If it's an indoor-outdoor situation, make sure they have an outdoor fenced-in area so they can safely be outside with lots of shade and things like that. So that's with housing. And so let me go ahead and answer a few questions that we have here. Anna says, if you don't charge any fees for the in-state folks can get a pig for free. I can see that being abused by many people. Free animals end up in bad situations. If we were not doing a intense adoption screening, I totally understand that. There are some organizations that don't have an intense adoption screening. Our adoption application takes about 15 to 20 minutes to complete. And then we have a program, basically a process going from point A to point B and so forth. And so we check, we do a home check. We do checks on Facebook. We do we have a list of all these checks that we go down to make sure that they actually are getting the right home. Now, our adoption rate is, sometimes we get out of 100 applications, probably 10% get through. So it's not like we if you apply, you're automatically approved. We have a very rigorous adoption screening and process to prevent those bad people and bad situations coming in, because we've had to prevent that. And so that's why we do home checks for in-state. We do that quite often. And a lot of times we require the adopter to come to Cotton Branch, meet the pig, and then we can talk more about it at that time as well. So I understand the concern, but our adoption process is extremely, extremely stringent, and we have a lot that goes into it. So thank you for your question. Anyone else have any questions? Because what we're trying to do here is we want people to know that it takes a special person, and it takes someone who is patient, because pigs are, and we tell this all the time, a mixture between a dog, a cat, and a 3-year-old toddler for 12 to 20 years, and maybe even longer. And so if you kind of have that mindset, and you kind of have that in your brain, and then you're like, you know what, I can probably do that, and then you talk it over with your family, and then talk it over with us, and we can see if it's a good fit. That's something you want to keep in mind, because they are very intelligent animals. They're extremely intelligent, and they will get into things. if like for instance, if you have an indoor-outdoor situation, they may want to try it to open up cupboards. So you may have to pig-proof, just like you would baby-proof a house. And on the outside, you want to make sure the fencing is extremely secure on the bottoms, because they like to root. You don't want them to root underneath the fence line. And so as part of the application process, we walk you through that. If you don't know if your house is pig-proofed, or if you don't know that if this is the right fit for the outside, with the fencing, is the fencing secure, we can go over that for sure. So, any other questions? All right. Oh, John said, I had the same concern as Anna. I had no idea. Yes. Yeah, I know. It's just what we do is, typically we really have a lot of people doing the adoption process. We have a team of right now, I think 5 people that go through all of these adoption applications, and they really dive in. And there may be a red flag here and there, like, oh my goodness, this is probably not a good fit because of the XYZ. So we have a very rigorous process that people go through, and we have a low adoption rate because of that. And we would rather it be a low adoption rate, like 10% or even less, because we're getting the best, absolute best home for these guys. So, all right. Well, I just want to jump in. Don't want to make this video too long. We're going to be talking about other topics throughout the day since this is Let's Move Mountains Monday. And just to remind everyone, in our auction group, it's a Facebook group, Auction for the Animals, tonight at 6 p.m. we will be doing a live auction. So that means we have items that we will be live with and people will be live bidding on online. So check that out. I'll be reminding people throughout the day about it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions about adoption, send us a message. If you have anything about pig behavior or what have you, let us know. So we hope you'll have a great and wonderful, wonderful day. We will talk to y'all soon. All right? Bye, y'all.